it's Jennifer Evans with Empowering Wellness Counseling Solutions. And today we are talking about, this week we're talking about financial wellness. It comes from my workbook. We are going right through it with the how to live or key steps to live a happier and healthier life. And we are diving into the value in spending and saving. And spoiler alert, it's all about trauma. We do not have a roadmap to wealth. We don't. But people make a lot of money on trying to sell you a false sense of what wealth is. But at the end of the day, if you don't fix the inside, you will not find anything connected to that. You can have a roadmap, but you do not have a car to get you anywhere within it. And so that's what we're here to talk about, is where to get that vehicle, how to build that map. Where's the vehicle? Because if you're buying that stuff, my guess is that your things, your space owns you. You don't own your space. And now you're spending more money on allowing your space to own you, building into a negative narrative, feeling discouraged because you're setting unrealistic goals because they are not set for you. They're set for savers. And you, as a spender, are not going to ever be a saver. And a saver is not going to be a spender. And what we're hoping to do, because that's a dichotomy that we know we're in anxious thinking, is we're trying to be investors. We're trying to understand and be mindful and intentional on what we invest in and making sure there's a return on that investment. And that return on investment comes directly to what our goals are, what our values are, what our idea of success is. And as we know, go back to that video, success is living within our own internal values. That's where you find joy. That's where you find peace. That's where you find love, is when you love yourself and you continue to love others through a place of a grounded space of living within your own values and whatever those may be. But what happens is we do what we know best. And this happens with parenting and it happens with spending. We often only know what we lived through our childhood, through the things that we saw in childhood. And that can be caregivers, but that can be family, friends. It can be, any person of authority or influence that was in our childhood. And we look at the things that we wanted and we wanted to achieve and be like, and we look at the things that we did not like, and it actually gave us a lot of fear that we were not going to be fulfilled, or we were not going to be able to make ends meet, or we felt a sense of abandonment or neglect or withholding as a result of how people spent their money and how we perceived and the implicit messaging we got from how people spent their money. And so some of it will lead you to chronically either being a spender or a saver, or chronically or compulsively trying to go against one way or the other. And so what we're trying to do is find the balance, that middle ground where we invest. So we spend money mindfully and we save money mindfully based on the values that we have. And so kind of for people who are compulsive spenders, I find have a connection with kind of this idea that there isn't a tomorrow. So there's usually either implicit messaging of intergenerational trauma or personal trauma. It finds that PTSD and compulsive spending have a very close unity, because why save if you don't have the belief that there is a tomorrow and you can't see a year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years into the future? Then you will be living in a today mindset, and a today mindset will not require saving money. And so if you find yourselves living towards your negative narrative and you find yourself unable to connect to your values, to connect to your future, and to see a pathway where you are engaging in life in 10, 15, 20 years, I highly recommend, you can reach out to me, you can reach out to my company, Empowering Wellness Counseling Solutions, or reach out to your own personal therapist or coach to really explore these dynamics of, I don't see it. Like, I see that I wanted this thing, and that's all I saw, is that I had the money in my account. I could either make minimum payments and I could afford the monthly payment, or I had the cash and I thought, whatever, like, this is my limit. And I say anything under $200, I'm not even going to think about. I'm just going to do, whatever that case may be. Everyone has that number. Usually it's like $5. But whatever, no shame in the game, no judgment. Everybody is different. And so, but we do have that limit, okay. And so I encourage you to think about, like, am I compulsively spending? Am I compulsively saving? And so on the other side, we don't spend any money. We don't. There are things that we actually need. There are things that really do serve us, and yet we don't. We are constantly thinking that it's hoarding, right? It is hoarding money. We are constantly thinking that there's something better out there for us that would be of better use. So then we don't spend our money because we're kind of waiting for the what ifs of life. And that's anxious, right? What if something big comes up? I spent probably my 30s, late 20s easily. But most of my 30s, we were a young couple, me and my husband, a young couple who, I was a military spouse, and I didn't understand the culture. And so a lot of my saving came around, well, I need to be liquid now because I need to be prepared that I may not have a job the next duty station. So, it was saving money to be prepared for the next duty station, then saving money for the next time we may need to go on to a new duty station. And so I really felt this need to be liquid, because I didn't know, I mean, that was a part of the military life. And so there's a lot of anxiety when we compulsively save and we compulsively spend. And so we want to move to this idea, the balance, where we invest, where we mindfully have an intention of what our values are. What do we want? Do we want the legacy? Go back for a couple of days. At the beginning of the week, I talked about having our values and spending, and I go through those values, and so when we know what we want, what is indicative of financial wellness to us, then we go back to that. We set that intention. And then we see, how do I make steps in my spending to allow me to achieve this goal? And that allows us to invest in ourselves, in our beliefs, and get a return on our investment as we implicitly value ourselves through our explicit valuing of ourselves in our spending or saving. So that is a lot. But it helps us to understand how to connect back to those values. Yesterday was another good video about our values and our worth, and negotiating our values and worth. So go back to that and look at, again, what your value is and how can you be an investor, not a saver or a spender, but an investor. I am Jennifer Evans with Empowering Wellness Counseling Solutions. Thank you so much. Hi, it's Jennifer Evans. I hope you are liking my videos. If you do, please comment below. Let me know if you have any questions. If there's topics that you're just dying to know about, and why do I do this and why do they do that, I would love to answer them. I do come from a cognitive behavioral background, but as we see in some of my videos. I love object relations. I love attachment theory. I love Erickson and his psychosocial developmental theories. So I do pull from a lot of different places in order to kind of build out that our thoughts, our feelings, our behaviors, something triggers it, and there's always a consequence after it. And that is the beauty of life and why we have a lot more control over our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors than we give ourselves credit for. This is a huge passion of mine, a calling, if you will. And I am here to support you. I've written 2 books, and I've got, the goal is 3 a year. So I've got several that are coming out in different, on different topics. But what we have right now, and you can go click on the Amazon link in the video descriptions below, but we have Saying Goodbye to Bad Brain. This is going to go and teach you everything you need to know about your negative narrative. So if you feel like life is hard and it just feels like you don't understand people or you don't understand why somebody you love keeps making the dumbest mistakes and decisions, what is their problem? They have bad brain. Go read about it. Find some empathy. Find some grace, because that is just them recapitulating their past. And we do it for ourselves and other people do it to us. And so when we know what they're doing, it makes it feel a lot less annoying and a lot more like we have agency over those experiences. So Saying Goodbye to Bad Brain. I also just released, and I'm very excited, is Key Steps to Living a Happier and Healthier Life. This is a workbook that is going to help you define what your values are, what success is for you, and what your vision of success, and it is going to go through everything that stresses us out and makes us live in suffering and despair, allow that bad brain to get involved, and instead of living in the present. So this will go through all the main things: building work-life balance, being able to be good enough, finding radical acceptance, decision making, which who would have thought that that was something, but it really breaks everything down that prevents you from living a happier and healthier life, and then allowing you to challenge those thoughts so that you can. So these are the key skills. So in my practice, I take the ABC model from Albert Ellis, through CBT, and I kind of open it up to this kind of overarching trajectory. And so we have awareness, acceptance, action. So the 3 A's of my treatment support with others, whether that's coaching or in therapy, through my books, and I have success groups as well. So I've got a lot of supports, and I use the same model. And that is, we need to build awareness about kind of why we do the things we do. We accept it. We don't agree, but we accept, okay, this is kind of my trajectory. I can see how it all comes together. I see trending patterns. I see how I act the same way. Actually, I get frustrated, but yet I'm acting the same exact ways because it is predictable, because that's my brain. It's bad brain working. It's a really good book. And so then we have action. And so I teach you lots and lots of ways to understand what the brain is doing and how to counter, how to challenge, counter, and do opposite actions. And so we have lots and lots of ways. The Bad Brain book has tons of ways in which we do that. And then the workbook has ways to start reflecting. We have exercises, activities, and journal prompts. And this book will actually, Key Steps to Living a Happier and Healthier Life, will follow my success group. So it is a 6-month success group. We break it down into 9 weeks. This is part 1, is living a happier and healthier life. Then we're going to have, we also have a part 2 section and a part 3. So you can come in at each of those sections, and it will have a continuous flow. Part 2 is our emotional regulation. So we're really looking at the relationship we have with ourselves and how the bad brain comes in and makes us reactionary, and how to calm and be more action oriented. Part 3 is interpersonal skills. How do you relate with others? How do you make yourself available? The key to life is you can't control the outcomes. You got to put all those processes out there. How do you put yourself out in that process to help others and to let others help you? That is section 3. We do have a subscription program, so accountability is everything, and it is in my first part of this workbook. So you can sign up, go to my website, counselingwellnesssolutions.com. It is in the description, and check out all of these great programs that I have set up to help everybody live a happier and healthier life no matter where your state of change. Thank you so much. Please like and share my videos. I would appreciate it. Thank you.